This is the West Virginia Capital Report. Funding for the West Virginia Capital Report is brought to you by Mark A. Hunt and Associates and by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia.
Welcome to the West Virginia Capital Report. I'm Dave Perry, host, and we have with us a special son of West Virginia, U.S. Senator Joe Manchin. Joe, welcome.
Good to be with you, Dave.
We appreciate you taking time, a busy time from Washington, to be with us today. And we'll jump right in here, Joe, and talk about the opioid crisis and some things you've done, some things happening in Washington relevant to that.
With the big omnibus bill that we passed yesterday, that was $1.3 trillion. We passed a piece of legislation that never cost a penny, and it's going to save lives immediately. It's called Jesse's Law. Jesse's Law, I've been trying to get it passed for 2 years, and don't even ask me why. In the dysfunction that we have in a toxic political environment, it should have been done the first day we introduced it, but we got it done last night. And what that language says is if a person goes into a hospital to be admitted, there's a litany of questions they ask you, and it gets down to what allergies do you have? Are you allergic to penicillin? Because they don't want a reaction that could maybe be life-threatening. Well, we had Jessie Grubb, who went in 2 years ago, to a Michigan hospital. And she went with her parents, David and Kate Grubb from Charleston. And she was a recovering heroin addict. And she was so proud. And she went in there and she was going into the admissions, and she says, I want you all to know and duly acknowledge on my records that I'm a recovering addict. And on this situation, she would have thought, and we would have all hoped, that they would have basically marked all of her transcripts and forms the same as they would if she would have been allergic to penicillin. Well, they didn't. She goes through her treatment. She's getting discharged. The discharging doctor did not see that she's an addict, a recovering addict. He prescribed her 50 oxycodone for pain relief because she had a hip injury from running. She was a competitive runner. That was like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. By 1 o'clock that night, she was dead. Too much temptation. So now, this piece of legislation says, by law, if a patient comes to you, and a patient comes to the doctor or to a facility, healthcare facility, and identifies themselves as an addict or a recovering addict or having a dependency, then their chart should be duly marked the same as any allergy or the same as a penicillin reaction. The same care should be given to that person identifying themselves as everything else we're concerned about. So we know that would have saved Jesse's life, and it'll save hundreds of thousands of lives.
I'm sure of that, and I'm sure we have a crisis in West Virginia nationally as well, Joe.
David, West Virginia is an epidemic. We're at the epicenter, if you will. We have more deaths per 100,000. We rank number one in the nation in that, and it's a horrible statistic to be number one in. But we're fighting it. We will continue to fight it. I have a bill called Lifeboat. All we're asking for, Dave, is for all the pharmaceutical manufacturers who manufacture the products to pay 1 penny per milligram into a treatment fee. That penny will go to the treatment fee, and so we'll have basically treatment centers all over West Virginia, all over America. Do you know how much that 1 penny will produce in money?
Wouldn't have a clue.
Close to $2 billion with a B, $2 billion a year. Can you believe it? That's how addicted this country is. And we have got to change. We have got to change. And I think we will, but it's a never-ending fight. We have to get people back in the workforce. We're here at a jobs fair today and in Beckley. 144 people. Vendors are looking to hire somebody today. If each one hired one person, that's 144 new jobs in Raleigh County, southern West Virginia. Tremendous. So we're fighting it every day, trying to improve the quality of lives and keep people in West Virginia.
This is the second job fair you've sponsored.
29th.
29th job fair.
29th.
Across the state of West
Second
Virginia.
down south here.
Second down south.
29th as far as in the state. We go all over. What we found out from the jobs fair day, first of all, we have 10,000 jobs unfulfilled in West Virginia. We have the lowest workforce participation. We rank dead last as far as in those West Virginians who are of age and capable of working that should be working that aren't. Two things keep you out of the workforce. Either you have an addiction or you have a lack of skill sets. These job fairs here are able to try to match up your skill sets. If you don't have a resume, then basically we can help you get a resume. If you need more job skills, we can get you education for that. And next of all, it's like a smorgasbord. You can shop all 144 vendors here and find out something that might be of interest to you. People are intimidated when they're when they're unemployed or out of work. They don't know where to start. It's so intimidating. This makes it very easy for them, and we're finding great success.
Let's talk about Washington here today, where the president has indicated he may not sign the funding bill.
I just got word that I think he is going to sign it, because if he doesn't sign, then he'd be solely responsible for shutting down government. And I don't think he wants to do that. And here's the thing. My Republican friends have total control right now. If the president's a Republican, the Speaker, Paul Ryan, in the House is Republican, and the Mitch McConnell in the Senate is Republican. They have control of the agenda, and they're the ones that's setting the pace. If there's something the president's upset about, they should have worked that out before all of us was brought in to either support or make adjustments or work through this. And I think everybody worked through the best they possibly could. I was concerned about opiate funding. I was concerned about how we're taking care of this scourge that we have, and all the other things that are very pertinent to us. So we worked on that, and we thought we had a good piece of legislation. I'm concerned about the debt of the nation. I'm very much concerned about the debt that we're dealing with here, and it's going to be passed on to our children or grandchildren. And we've got to get that under control. And both sides are bad. Not just, you can't blame just one.
Right.
Both sides are bad. The only thing they have in common, Democrats and Republicans, they both like to spend money.
I know you've done a heck of a job of trying to work across the aisles on behalf of the nation and on behalf of West Virginia.
Well, I've said this. Your priorities should be based on your values. You can't be everything to everybody. And you have to have enough revenue to pay for the services that are needed for an open society that we have, but also a compassionate society. And people just want to cut to the bone. There's nothing left. And you've got to be very careful. So we've got to get our house back in order. And if your financial's house in order, Dave, you know we were there together. We put $1 billion of cash. They've about gone through it.
Yeah.
If it hadn't been for the rainy day fund, think where the state would be today.
Exactly. And of course, I know NAFTA has been a topic of discussion in Washington as well,
Yeah.
which many American workers are concerned about.
Well, here's the thing. I know there's a lot of saber rattling going on right now, and I really believe this is Wall Street. Wall Street is shaking everybody up because of the investments. That's all they're caring about. Well, I care about the jobs in Main Street. West Virginia got hurt badly by these NAFTA deals, or what they call free trade agreements. There's nothing fair about a free trade agreement, I can assure you. And all we're asking for, and I support the president in taking this hardline stance to find out where we stand around the world with the people we should be dealing with. I'm not a fan of multilateral trade deals. That means more than 2 countries. 4 and 5 countries will be in a deal. We might have wanted to help 1 or 2 of those countries, lift them out of abject poverty, and 2 or 3 other countries took advantage of an open border for us. So what we're saying is, fair is this. If you're charging me 20% tariff to send my vehicle, the cars we manufacture in the United States, to your country, then don't you think we should charge the same? You want us to charge you 2%, you want to charge me 20%.
Mm-hmm.
That's not what we call fair trade. It might be free, much freer on your end than ours. So, and then I think that most deals should be bilateral. Perfect example, NAFTA. NAFTA is North American Free Trade Agreement, right?
Right.
That's Mexico, United States, and Canada. I believe those should be bilateral, and I believe the president will adjust those. We should have a trade agreement and a deal with Mexico. We're going to deal with Mexico different we're going to deal with Canada. Canada's economy, and Canada's our greatest trading partner. They don't rob our jobs. We're able to balance this out. We have a surplus. That means we sell more to Canada than we buy from them. We have a deficit. We have a deficit with Mexico. Those things have to be adjusted. And every 5 years there should be a sunset review. You know about sunsetting.
Right.
Check and see if the bill's still needed. Check and see if this trade deal is working the way it is supposed to work, and that we're not giving our jobs and economy away.
I know that part of your repertoire was always, we'll try it, and if it doesn't work, we'll change it.
That's exactly. If I said this, if you can't change your mind, you can't change anything.
And of course, I'm sure you're excited to learn that you recently received the United Mine Workers of America endorsement
Yeah.
And I also understand that AFL-CIO has endorsed you,
Yes.
which represents some 575 unions and 144,000 workers across the state of West Virginia, Senator.
Let me just tell you, and I mean this, I come from a little coal town called Farmington, West Virginia, north central West Virginia, a little less than 400 people. So I grew up, everybody in my family was mining in some way, shape, or form. Everybody I grew up with. My Little League coach was a miner, coal miner, and worked with us. My Boy Scout leader was a coal miner. So the people that shaped my life have been people that worked hard. And for the people that know you best, the people that raised you, the people that mentored you, to still know that you're the same person willing to support you, that speaks volumes. And to me, that means everything.
Absolutely. And of course, the working class people have been battered over the last 2 years in the state of West Virginia.
Well, not only just in West Virginia, but across this country. They're getting beat up and attacked everywhere. If a person can't make a decent wage and if they can't have benefits to where they can take care of themselves and their family, and we just fought like the dickens to get the health care that the miners have paid for, and the bankruptcy courts took it away from them to get it back. Now we're trying to get their pensions back. This is something you have to fight for every day. And if you can't fight for the people that made America, what's our purpose?
Right, right. And of course, you've always done that. And I guess, like I said, you know, it does speak volumes and does speak well that the people who know you have endorsed you and believe that you're always out there working for high wage, good wages, good benefits, and jobs for West Virginians.
David, it can be done. I mean, it doesn't have to be the lowest wage payer is going to be the most successful business. I found out some of the best wage payers with the best benefits have the most satisfied workers, are the best companies, the most profitable companies. It goes hand in hand. And we'll talk about education and the economy go hand in hand. The strike that we just had in West Virginia, it's one that I would have hoped we could have avoided. But it came to a head to where no one's put attention to education.
Exactly.
And when I was governor, Dave, I never had anybody that would come to the state if they didn't think you had a commitment towards education. So the economy and education is one and the same. And I hope that we don't forget that and we never go back to where we have to go on the streets again to get what's needed.
I don't think the United 55 is going to let us forget that.
I hope not, David. I really do. I think we're all in this together, and it's all about our kids and it's about the future of West Virginia. If they don't have a really healthy start, if they don't have a chance to have the skill sets, then as a state we're never going to be able to compete.
Again, we're getting a signal there. We appreciate you taking the time to be with us today, Senator. And as always, it's a very honor to be able to talk with you and to respect you keeping the people of West Virginia informed on what you're all about. And as a favorite son of West Virginia, we hope you do well.
Well, David, here's the thing, and I would say this, the people of West Virginia are the best in the world. It's not about your politics. I don't care whether you're Democrat or Republican. Be an American and be in West Virginia first.
We appreciate that.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back in one moment with the West Virginia Capitol Report.
This is the West Virginia Capitol Report. Funding for the West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by Mark A. Hunt and Associates and by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom McGee. It's dangerous out there. If you get hurt, shift the odds in your favor. Call Mark Hunt to get your just compensation and compensation for your injury. And if you have any criminal charge or if you get a DUI, be sure to call me at 304-642-6160.
The law firm of Mark Hunt and Associates, specializing in personal injury, DUI, and criminal defense. 304-344-1800.
Dan Hill Construction Company in Glen Ferris has over 33 years of local service. With county, state, and federal and church construction experience, we can design and build any type of project that will suit your needs. Once you select us for your project, we'll supply all the tools, labor, equipment, and materials to complete your project on budget and on time. We're a zero drugs tolerance company with an excellent safety record as a bonded and insured commercial contractor with an outstanding relationship and payment record reputation with all of our subcontractors and suppliers. References available upon request. We are Dan Hill Construction Company, 9033 Midland Trail, Glen Ferris, West Virginia. 304-632-1600, license number WV001196, rated in the best top 50 government contractors in West Virginia.
from under the Gold Dome in Charleston, this is the West Virginia Capitol Report.
Welcome back to the Capitol Report, and my name is Bill Sahanich, and I'm very pleased to be sitting here with a regular guest with us. He's been on about 3 times. This is Senator Richard Ojeda, who happens to be running for 3rd Congressional District in West Virginia, in our 3rd District right now. Interestingly, because Senator Ojeda is an airborne ranger, he always wears
Sapper.
a very...
I was a sapper.
I apologize. He always wears his distinctive haircut, and I thought, I better get my haircut for the interview tonight. Walked in, get a haircut, mentioned to somebody that I might be speaking with you, and a state trooper yelled out, "Ojeda!" He said, "I believe Ojeda has accomplished more in his first couple years in the Senate than anybody in recent history." I went home and did a little more research on you. I pulled up legislatively the number of bills you did pull off. He ticked off, as a state police officer, he said, the medical marijuana bill, which you were definitely one of the biggest promoters of. As a state trooper, he believed that we should take it all the way, which I found surprising. He then talked about your bill to help the corrections officers in our state. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the specific bills you have worked on in your first 2 years in our Senate?
Well, there was quite a few that didn't make it, but it didn't mean that they weren't worth fighting for. Obviously, the medical marijuana bill, that bill that was passed was in my first session as a senator, a freshman senator. But, that bill was focused solely on trying to give people, help that suffer from Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, severe ADHD, and post-traumatic stress disorder, and many, many more. So that was a pretty important bill that I was absolutely proud to get passed, which was, it was a monumental, event. I was told in the beginning, don't even think about it, you won't get it passed, and we got it passed. Also, I fought hard for correctional officers. We bring correctional officers on the Capitol floor and we talk about how wonderful they are, but we do nothing for them and their families in the budget. And to me, I think that that's unacceptable, and we need to stop doing that unless we're willing to bring them on there and let them know that we plan to follow through with action. And I think that that was a big fight and needed to be fought. Second chance for employment, a bill that will allow people that are not violent or sexual predator felons to be able to get back on track. The violent, no. The sexual predator, no. But the rest that fall in the middle, we got to give them the ability to be able to, take back charge of their life. So, and those were some of the major ones. But I mean, like I said, I pushed quite a few other bills that I believe, should have went through, but, it never happened. But it doesn't mean that it's over. The fight's never over.
There's a term in politics these days, populism, which is not a new term, but describing a specific candidate who may actually be speaking for the people, and many people have suggested you are a populist candidate. Is that a term you refer to when you talk about yourself?
No, it's not, but I'll tell you, I do everything in my power to fight for the working class citizens. I think that they desperately need a voice. I support unions wholeheartedly. The people need to have, working class citizens need to have a seat at the table, and unions provide that seat at the table for them. It's just, what happened with the teacher strike that recently just happened. We have a lot of people around here that get up every day, they put on their work clothes and they go to work to feed their family, but they also are the ones that pay the taxes. And the thing is that those are the most important people that we have. It's not the top 1%. It's the people that pay the taxes and get up and do what they can to take care of their families. Those are the most important people, and they are the ones that deserve to be heard. And it's time we start giving them the ability to be heard and listen to what they have to say.
When you have had 2 successful years in the Senate, I pulled up specifically the number of pieces of legislation you sponsored or co-sponsored. I haven't done a quantitative analysis. I believe it very well may be one of the most productive 2 years we've seen out of a freshman senator. You now are trying to take this big leap onto a federal level. Yes. There are many issues we see in West Virginia that are important to all of us on a federal level. How do you see your vision, your scope, your direction for to be a congressional member? How do you see you carrying this message that you've pushed through West Virginia on a federal level?
I'm going to carry it loudly. The thing that we have is we haven't had anybody that's went up there and really truly fought. Right now, and I look forward to jumping on board with those that are already in this fight. But right now, our retired coal miners are still worried about their pensions. And I plan to go there on day one and fire that back up, because that's important to me.
Absolutely.
I believe, I pushed medical cannabis in West Virginia. I believe I have no problems picking that fight with Jeff Sessions on day one. Anybody that's got to climb out of the pockets of Big Pharma to speak, I have nothing for. And I want to be able to give patients access to medical cannabis. And that's exactly what we need to do. And I'm telling you, I have no problems going there and making waves.
You come from a community in Logan County that has been truly devastated, the likes of which most of us don't understand. Is that a big catalyst to your vision and your desire to really fight?
Absolutely. I mean, right now, in southern West Virginia, they threw their Oxycontin on us like Tic Tacs. It was almost like we were the lab rats. And it has destroyed our community. It has killed thousands upon thousands of people. Big Pharma stands in the way because obviously they want to use the money that they have to basically purchase votes is what they do. And it's got to stop. We absolutely need help in these areas. And it is a motivating, it's very motivating to me, because I know that it has to be done. Because if we don't fix this situation, it will only get worse. And right now, I mean, it is literally like the walking dead in many communities across our state and across the United States of America. And we really need to get serious about trying to fix this issue.
With the vision you have tried to achieve within West Virginia Senate, I'm sure you've also encountered great resistance. Some of that resistance coming from the Republican side of the equation. We're not playing favorites here, but there's a distinction that I've noticed within your candidacy, in that you are not receiving and accepting PAC monies from Big Farm. You are not accepting PAC monies from the PAC groups that are associated with, for instance, the Koch family. That many of the Republican side of this equation in our state are completely, solely financed. Is that a deliberate decision on your part as far as your candidacy?
Absolutely. I will take not one single dime from corporate PAC money. Citizens United needs to be overturned. Corporations are not people, and money is not free speech. And it has to change. What they do is they use their money to grease the pockets of legislators, and they convince them to vote the way they want them to vote. You know what? When we have a legislator that cares more about a $2,000 campaign contribution than he cares about the people that he represents, then we have a problem. And that problem is not only on the State House, it's in the Capitol in Washington, D.C.
Within the last a few weeks, we've experienced our teachers' strike here, which would not be unfair to suggest that you were on the front side of that equation. You were one of the first senators on our floor to use the strike word, a word which most people fear. You led with that, 55 counties strong. Are you hoping and working on, when you accomplish something like that, and you are faced with large money donations to potential candidates against you, are you trying to in any fashion optimize financial support from the grassroots at present?
Basically, if you look at my campaign contributions, it comes from individual donors. And hopefully I'll be getting some contributions from some labor organizations.
Absolutely.
Those are the people that I fight for. What I have done, with serving as a voice, I believe that I represent very well. I make sure that I keep in contact with the people that are on the ground. Those are the most important people out there. And I listen to what they have to say, and those are the fights that I will fight. And I will continue fighting for them. And you know what? I don't like asking people for money. And I know that, that what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to drown me out. But you know what? I can do more with less. However, I know that the people support me. The people are backing me. I would rather have a $5 donation than a $5 donation from an average citizen who cares and knows that I will use that $5 to fight their battle than a $5,000 donation from somebody who is just trying to make sure that he makes somebody else filthy rich.
Well, any time running for a congressional seat is an uphill battle. Many congressional races in our United States are $10, $15, $20 million races. It's wonderful to realize we have a grassroots scenario here whereby someone hopefully is becoming a voice for the people. I'm trying to be objective here, but I've watched what you've done. when you discussed you moved on Senate Bill 330 very quickly. You were all over trying to restructure the Right to Work bill, which they tried to rename and make it even sound more beautiful. But I was personally, as someone that cares about our unions, I was thrilled that you were jumping in on that equation.
Well, I got a questionnaire from the National Right to Work the other day, and I did a video burning it.
Beautiful.
You know, I'll tell you right now, it's right to work for less is what it is. We have had an absolute attack on our unions across America since the 80s. And you know what? It's time to turn the table, and it's time to bring our unions back. Our working class citizens need a voice. If you're not a member of a union, you need to become a member of a union. If you don't have a union, it's time to unionize.
Well, we have a short segment here that we've had time to do. I think we could probably do several hours with you. Your issues are so long and so deep. I'm very happy that we were able to get you here today. I know you're a busy man. Thank you so much on behalf of the Capitol Report for again giving us the gift of your time.
Airborne.
Thank you. And I would like to turn it back to our Capitol Report. We're going to take a break, and please stay tuned. We want you back.
This is the West Virginia Capitol Report. Funding for the West Virginia Capitol Report is brought to you by Mark A. Hunt and Associates and by the AFL-CIO of West Virginia.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom McGee. It's dangerous out there. If you get hurt, shift the odds in your favor. Call Mark Hunt to get your just compensation and compensation for your injury. And if you have any criminal charge or if you get a DUI, be sure to call me at 304-642-6160.
The law firm of Mark Hunt and Associates, specializing in personal injury, DUI, and criminal defense. 304-344-1800.
From under the Gold Dome in Charleston, this is the West Virginia Capitol Report.
Welcome to the West Virginia Capitol Report. I'm Dave Perry, host, and I have with me this evening Andy Walker, Secretary-Treasurer of the West Virginia AFL-CIO. Welcome, Andy.
Oh, thank you for having me.
I understand you've been in the process of endorsing candidates, and people here all over the state COPE. Now, what does COPE stand for?
It's a Committee on Political Education.
And COPE does what?
COPE is our process on how we do our endorsements.
So those endorsements begin with a candidate filling out a questionnaire, I assume?
Absolutely. We mail out questionnaires to anybody that's filed to run in any race, and they have to fill those out in a timely manner, and they have to get them back to us before a specific date, and then we take that into consideration.
And then they come in for personal interviews?
They come in for interviews, but it's done on a local level. It's done with our central labor unions. Mm-hmm. There's 13 of them all over the state. It begins there and then moves itself towards the center of the state, which we're going to have our main meeting on Saturday.
Saturday you have the main meeting where those different 18 organizations make the recommendation to Central AFL-CIO, correct?
That's correct. And the committee's made up of 75 union members that belong to the AFL-CIO, so we do it in a very democratic way.
And those affiliates of the AFL-CIO involved in this are United Mine Workers?
That's one of them. United Steel Workers. We have our building trades, AFT, some CWA. We have plenty of them. I hate to miss anybody.
Right, I understand. Of course, that's a large representative of working men and women in the state of West
Virginia.
Absolutely. And working men and women in the state of West Virginia, the last couple of sessions of the West Virginia legislature haven't fared well.
They haven't fared well, and I think they made their voice heard.
I think the 55.
At the 55 strong, yeah, sure.
And I understand they have created a common PAC as well.
That's my understanding, yes, they have.
Which means that they intend to stay together and intend to take up issues that affect working men and women across the state of West Virginia.
That's right.
And of course, AFL-CIO has always done that.
That's right. Yeah, we're always fighting for men and women, fighting for their working rights, their health rights, and fighting for fair wages.
And those things, like I said, have seemed to disappear at the expense of right to work and prevailing wage and some other issues.
Yeah, a lot of those issues, those laws, and some of the bills that were coming at working families really did nothing but really crippled their wages.
I understand that. And of course, the teachers, I think, along with you guys joining them, the affiliates joining them and so forth, were most successful in this legislative session with what they were able to do.
I think you can chalk it up as a success, and I think it's starting to spread to other states throughout the United States.
Obviously, we saw it in Kentucky, Oklahoma, and up north as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And West Virginia has been a model, and I think the work stoppage has been an excellent process that has exhibited quite a deal of professionalism as well.
Yeah, at no time did anybody get arrested and out of line or of any sorts, and it was a peaceful protest as far as we're concerned.
Andy, we appreciate you stopping by with us tonight.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having been the opportunity to be here while you do those interviews, although we weren't privy to them, and we won't be privy to that information. I understand you all will announce Saturday.
That's right. It'll be out on Saturday, and we'll be moving forward.
So I'm sure the public will be looking forward to those endorsements, and those endorsements will well represent working men and women across the state of West Virginia.
We will make sure of that.
Appreciate that.